Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Once again, it's always a privilege to be able to talk to you guys. So I'm going to be talking to you guys, as a continuation. We've been looking at factors that can affect IHC pulse staining and what can we do about it to offer solution. And today I'm going to be talking to us about inadequate blocking. Remember, I had already explained these protocols to you guys, when I was talking about inadequate antigen retrieval. Okay, I gave you guys the background of immunology when it comes to antigen antibody binding and all of that. Okay, so I told you guys that one of the protocol has to do with the blocking. Okay, so we're going to be looking at inadequate blocking. How would inadequate blocking lead to poor IHC staining, and what can we do to be able to correct that? Anyway, before we continue, my name is Dr. Emmanuel Obodo. I'm a biomedical scientist and I'm also a lecturer in biomedical science here in the United Kingdom. So yeah, let's get into that. Now, let's try to recap something. When you say blocking, remember, in IHC staining, you are talking about antigen antibody. What you want is in IHC staining is specific antibody binding to the specific antigen. So we've already discussed a number of things so far, okay? We now want to see, how does blocking come into place? What exactly is blocking? Now, in blocking, because you want that specificity, remember, in that sample, there can be other proteins, okay, that can mimic that very antigen. So meaning, if you allow that, what is going to happen is that there can be non-specific binding. Okay, so what blocking does is that what blocking is going to do is that it's going to block any other thing that doesn't reflect the true antigen of what you are looking for. Does that make sense? So in blocking, we block any other proteins or any other factors or any other tissue component that are likely to be stained, non-specifically. So that is why blocking is employed. So blocking basically helps for specific binding. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so if we already know that, what it then means is that because that blocking is important to ensure there is specific binding, if there is such a thing as inadequate blocking, meaning that we didn't block the way we should, we did not effectively block those non-specificity, okay, proteins, what is going to happen, or content, non-specific content of the tissue, what is going to happen is that antibody is going to bind both to the antigen, the true antigen, and other non-specific antigens, as the case may be. So because of that, we employ blocking. So inadequate blocking means that we are not able to block other non-specific antigens, and that can give non-specific binding. So that is one of the primary causes. Now, what can we do? Of course, if we want to offer solution, we then need to, of course, block very well. Okay, so we need to make sure there is adequate blocking, and to ensure that there is adequate blocking, what you then need to do is to use blocking buffer. Obviously is a common one. Okay, so you use blocking buffer, and in this blocking buffer you use blocking, that blocking buffer, you can prepare it using a appropriate blocking agent. Okay, we have what we call bovine serum albumin. That is what we call in short form BSA, bovine serum albumin. Okay, now there are other things, maybe normal serum, as the case maybe. There are a number of things that can be employed to prepare, that can be used to prepare a blocking buffer. But whichever way, make sure that normal blocking buffer is prepared, okay, with using a appropriate blocking agent, okay, like BSA I've mentioned. Okay, that would ensure there will be adequate blocking. I hope that makes sense. Now, another factor is that even though you have prepared this very blocking and buffer, with appropriate blocking agent, if you don't block at the appropriate time, if you underblock, meaning that when you expose the blocking buffer to the tissue, okay, you did not allow the required time, that is under blocking. Obviously, that is also inadequate blocking. So it's important that you optimize or use a recommended blocking time, meaning that there's a time that is required for that very blocking buffer to effectively block those non-specific antigen. I hope that makes sense, because that will help to prevent non-specific binding. So just to recap, okay, one of the factors that can lead to poor IHC staining is inadequate blocking. So I've mentioned what the blocking does. It helps to block every other thing that could be stained that may mimic the true antigen of what you're looking for. So when we don't block, the antibody can bind and stain, both specific antigen and non-specific antigen, and that can give a wrong result. And that's why we do blocking. So appropriate blocking is important. Adequate blocking is important. So it's one of the factors that can lead to this poor IHC staining, because when it stains non-specific, that is poor IHC staining. Okay, so what that make IHC staining a good IHC staining is that it will stain only specific antigen. Okay, now what then happen is that in order to prevent this very inadequate blocking, since we've already known that inadequate blocking can lead to this, to prevent it, we'll make sure there is adequate blocking by making sure that we use blocking buffer, using a blocking reagent, okay, like BSA I've mentioned, or normal serum like I've mentioned, to prepare that. And of course, make sure that the blocking take place at the required time. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. And let me know what you think about the video. Please put a comment on the comment section. Feel free to do that. Okay. And please, can I ask you to comment, like, share, and subscribe? Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best till I come back away again. Bye-bye.